We kick it off. Just wanted to introduce myself. I am Andrew Dane. I'm our product marketing manager here at ArcXP. And before we start, I just want to go through a quick couple of housekeeping items. So we are recording today's session, and you'll receive a recorded version after the webinar. So if you want to review it or share it with colleagues, you'll be able to do so. Also, we do want to hear from you and have this be as interactive a conversation as possible. So please do take advantage of the Q&A tool. We can see your questions as they come in, and we definitely want to get them answered, whether that's during the Q&A portion at the end or after the webinar individually if we don't have time. And lastly, I did want to highlight that we're going to be at a lot of events coming up this spring. So we're headed to NAB next week. Plus, we have events like INMA and WAN IFRA in Europe coming up, and even our very own Connect London in June. So please take a look at some of these events and let us know if you're going to be there, headed out to any of these, and reach out to the team and let us know because we'd love to see you in person. Um, and with that, we are ready to get started. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce Joe Croney, ArcXP's Chief Technology Officer.
Thank you, Andrew, and welcome all to our first product roadmap webinar of the year. Thank you for taking the time to spend with us. We've got a lot to share. In terms of our agenda, it's very similar to what we've done in past webinars. We'll begin with introductions for the product engineering leadership team, move into our product vision, our product strategy, kind of a high-level look at where our dreams are for where we take ArcXP into the future, and then get into the details, the actual product roadmap, the releases, and save some room for some questions. So if you do have some questions as we come up, as we go through the content, please bring those up at the end of the call. We'd love to hear that feedback. That's why we do these calls. Our roadmap really begins and ends with our customers aligning to our vision. In terms of our product leadership team today, we have myself, as well as Joey Marburger, who leads our content intelligence team. And we also have, looks like we've got still there, both trying to control it there, Andrew, I think. Neil Garitana, who leads really all of our media operating system teams. Kathy Thomasone, who's leading our technical operations group. Ryan Gladstone, who's been focusing on our creator apps, as well as some of the solutions. And Afro Manolis, who leads up our product operations. So a very strong team that sits behind ArcXP every day, advancing the roadmap and satisfying our customers' needs across the board. So with that said, I'd like to speak a little bit about the product vision and strategy and give some updates there. And the first update is our product vision around a media operating system remains unchanged as we come to 2026. We feel really good about our three pillars of value of helping you own your audience, innovate rapidly, as well as grow independent revenue. And the big change that we saw last year really was wrapping ArcXP intelligence around the core of what we do. 2025, when we look back, was really a lot was achieved for our platform at large, a lot of meaningful progress, and importantly, a foundation for what comes next this year. We delivered over 80 roadmap items across 16 teams, a significant level of output, and we look at our metrics for how quickly we can take an idea, a request from you, our customers, and get them in your hands. We have made meaningful progress delivering that in much shorter order. A lot of the work last year focused on modernizing this platform and improving the core performance. This is what allows us to continue operating ArcXP reliably at scale for all of you day by day. And you've seen that we are increasing our commitment in terms of SLAs, uptime, transparency, and the support that we give our customers. Another big change last year was AI-powered workflows really took hold. 2025 was really a year when AI moved from a concept, one of those dreams we had of the future, into day-to-day workflows inside ArcXP. You see that in Composer, in the AI assistant. You see that in new APIs and SDKs that we launched. You see that in the new consumer experiences that we're bringing out. And finally, in our view of hyper-personalization for the future, we made progress on a more personalized experience, those core foundational elements. So taken together, 2025 was about building the foundation across AI, personalization, and extensibility. What you'll see next is how we're taking that foundation and developing much more focused, high-impact solutions for 2026. So, what is the focus there? What motivates us? It continues to be the audiences that are dying for great content from our customers. And we see that the gap isn't closing between what Audience 3.0 wants and what many of the publishers and broadcasters and the media ecosystem at large is offering those consumers. So when we think about all the work we're doing, we really want to make sure that we give you the tools and the solutions to reach Audience 3.0. And that is a very different thing. We've talked about it across a couple of years now for webinars of going from that passive consumer, one size fits all, to that hyper personalized, engaged co-creator and stakeholder method. And we've heard a lot of feedback from you all about how that's the direction you want to go to, but also the challenge of crossing that gap. So we thought a lot about how we can invest this year to do more meaningful progress to really assist you all in reaching Audience 3.0. And we came away with was our vision needs to remain the same. Hyper personalization, agentic workflows, and audience ownership. But we're choosing a different vehicle this year. Instead of continuing to work on the foundation, which has been matured over nearly a decade, and what you've heard from you all, you actually prefer in some areas it stays stable so you can focus other development time. Our 2026 execution is not really about expanding that core OS like last year, but instead shipping complete opinionated solutions that embody each vision pillar. And the reason for this is things like on your audience, if we just give you the tiny building blocks, we saw there was too much work to assemble those to meet the business objective. So what you'll see is these new solutions from us this year will have a defined buyer, measurable outcomes, and a 30-day time to value. So we're really trying to go from a platform of building blocks to those action figures to meet your business needs. And behind all that, our commitment to the platform, to the Media OS remains. We'll continue to service it. We'll continue to enhance it where it makes sense to support these solutions, and it'll be fully supported and stable. So in sum, our vision remains the same. In 2026, what's shifting is how we realize it through focused solutions. So you'll see in the roadmap presentations today, it's a lot less about feature by feature and more about business value, trying to bring you those solutions to meet the challenges of today. And if we think about those, we decided to embark on three big bets this year. And they all fall into one of the pillars of innovating rapidly, own your audience, or flexible revenue. And I've challenged my teams to think hard, and we've built cross-functional teams with sales and marketing and customer success, and you all through our customer advisory boards in these sessions to answer questions like how to use data to adapt your content strategy quickly, creating content that attracts the audience you want and can be monetized. So you can see we got some roadmap investments lined up there. In Own Your Audience, we're really going focused on this big bet question early this year. And how do you shift from audience controlled by search and social to a direct Audience 3.0 relationship that loves your product and is prepared to pay? And then the final one, we want to figure out that problem. How do you convert and make more money from that audience? Money that stays on platform and accrues to your brand. So these are our roadmap in short. We want to attack these problems throughout the entire year, and we've formed teams to learn from you all exactly what KPIs would mean that we were successful and we really won at these three challenges. So these aren't abstract pillars this year. They aren't visions for the future that might happen in 2 or 3 years. No, they're measurable business problems tied to engagement, conversion, revenue, and retention. So that's the big shift you'll see. Same strategy, but the way we're attacking is going to be much tighter, more focused, and more with fully formed solutions. Our commitment to you in 2026 is threefold. The platform is stable and fully supported from security, reliability, performance, investment of any issues that are there. Last year was a dramatic year of closing out the bugs and ideas that you had submitted to us over past years. So you can build on ArcXP that exists today with confidence. New value from us will come as complete solutions, not just roadmap promises, but discrete products with defined outcomes, fast onboarding, and results you can take to your leadership teams. And then finally, we'll continue to integrate and foster robust partner ecosystems. One of the highlights I loved from last year, and I heard from you all, was partnerships with Pool, Tollbit, Datadome, the Intelligence SDK to bring best-of-breed capabilities without disrupting your platform stability. So let's see how we can get there. In Q1 2026, we shipped twice as fast than our average time to market in prior years, and we expect to continue accelerating that. As we get into the roadmap, I know in these sessions we go from vision and strategy down to actually individual releases. So you'll hear my team really talk about each one in terms of what's available today, what are our focus solutions for this year, and which is our long-term vision. And as I said before, we've spent a lot of time working with you, validating that long-term vision. We feel strong there. What we want to do is apply that vision. And that vision doesn't imply we know exactly how the roadmap will evolve. There's questions that we have for you all. We want to know what it means to do hyper-personalization. We've heard a lot of different ideas there. We want to know how these AI tailored experiences can not just rival the likes of chatbots, but offer whole new experiences that are much more engaging towards that own your audience goal. So the vision side isn't what's going to ship tomorrow, but we will share those things in the first bucket as we get through today. So we're getting into the best part of these sessions, which is where my team can share some of what they've been working on with the product engineering leadership team. In past webinars, we've shown slides that have hundreds of items on them, and we know those are really too much to digest. So we've done a lot of work to have three themes of what we've been working on. The first, AI-powered intelligence, which is about creating and discover and monetize content faster with AI embedded across the platform. You'll see things like AI-assisted workflows, more accurate recommendations, and new APIs. Integrations and extensibility, the second grouping, really is to help you plug in the tools, partners, and workflows your team already relies on. So that's the new partner integrations like Pool, Tollbit, Datadoom, flexible integrations frameworks, and some of the work we're doing at Edge. Finally, core performance and workflows. We know to meet today's audience, you have to move faster. We know that many of us are solving for a business challenge which has us working with smaller teams. So you have to be more efficient, be able to work between your editorial and developer teams with agility. So you'll see where we have faster delivery and modernized infrastructure, streamlined editorial workflows, and developer visibility and control. We're delivering value across the full content lifecycle from creation to delivery to monetization if you think about these three buckets. So to lead us off first, Joey, I think you have got something to share when it comes to our AI-powered content and intelligence.
Yeah, thanks, Joe. I'm gonna kick us off a bit here, and then we'll turn it over to my colleagues. So, um, first, I wanted to really start with kind of a brief history of our AI journey, which has been feels like a blink of an eye, but a couple of years where we started exploring the AI editor, which was our first real AI product for Arc Intelligence within Composer. And that started with our Chrome extension, which has gone through many iterations, which still exists today. And, oh, I had to get remote control here. Oh, can you advance the next slide or next? There we go. Then we moved into content vectors, our advanced Arc Intelligence package to do related stories or recommend a photo or a video within Composer. And then we launched our AI API, our Intelligence SDK, our customer-facing API that powers our tools for use by you all for custom integrations and other workflows. And then, which we're very excited about, is the AI Assistant, which has already gone through a couple quick iterations that Ryan's going to talk a bit more about here in a moment. And then Audio Center, which is not just AI. It has native audio capabilities, but that also just brings in some more robust workflow solutions around text-to-speech for audio articles AI solution. Finally, is Ask the News. That I'm going to come back a little later and talk about. We're nearing our general availability launch for that. It's a super exciting project. But in the meantime, I'm going to first turn it over to my man Ryan to talk about the AI assistant.
Great. Thanks so much, Joey. Yeah, so the AI assistant is where we bring the power of AI into the creator apps, giving your team the ability to refine and make sure they're putting out the best work possible, thanks to inline feedback that they can accept and reject in a workflow that makes sense for their team. And so it runs automatically. It consults the prompts, and as I'll talk about here in a second, the style guides that you've uploaded into the system to produce relevant contextual feedback for your team so they can get more done in less time, with the goal of helping your team to produce higher quality content and streamline the content production workflow. So if we go to the next slide. I want to share a few recent updates based on lots of great early feedback that we've gotten over the last few months with the AI assistant. First up is we've been working on taking some of the capabilities that have historically existed in the AI editor and the Chrome extension and bringing them inline natively into the AI assistant. So now you can set up custom prompts. So if you have something, a bespoke one that you want to produce a certain recommendation or have any other feedback, you can set that up and have those capabilities available. We also have new streamlined cards based on the feedback about grouping feedback that's related so that you can review them all together and make it really easy to respond to the feedback that the AI assistant is producing. And then we've also introduced more flexibility about when the AI assistant runs. That was a big learning for us, is kind of exactly what moment in the content lifecycle makes sense, when it should be automated, and when it should be something that you call on proactively, and making sure that we have the configuration that makes sense for a host of different workflows and styles. And then finally, I'm really excited to announce that the style guide upload is now available. And this was our #1 feature over the last few months. Um, Customers want to be able to do more than just include a custom prompt that's run. They want to bring their style guides they've developed around house rules, around local company names, other data points and context that make the AI much more tailored to your particular situation and make sure the results are as relevant as possible. So now you can upload multiple style guides and frankly, kind of whatever typical format that you would need, whether it's CSV or docs or PDF, and the AI will then consult those before producing the results for your team. Great. And then I think, Joey, it's back to you.
All right, let me try to get no control again. Okay, so super excited to talk about Ask the News. I'm gonna go back a slide. There we go. All right, so spoken about this a bit in the past. We're nearing completion of our work to bring the work that the Washington Post has done with Ask the Post to the ARC ecosystem for all of our customers. We had a lot of fantastic learnings from them and around various implementations, trust and security, and really what it takes to run an AI-powered consumer-facing product. And this is probably one of the coolest projects I've worked on really in my career, where I really see AI doing more than what we've already been doing. And honestly, we really look at this as not always talking about AI, as that is, definitely a part of it, but we really look at this as a new opportunity for deepening engagement with your readers and viewers, having more discovery, kind of serendipity, and being able to actually get more out of the journalism that you're producing. So we're targeting May for general availability. We've been doing an internal beta for a little while now. We're wrapping up our pricing and all our go-to-market materials now. So a lot of more exciting information to come. Next slide. This is one of a couple quick demo videos. And this is the internal admin, where you can test Ask the News, but also where you'll control the settings around it. So you can decide really what the user experience is, and we'll have a series of kind of implementation recommendations from kind of starter page builder blocks to kind of open source components. It is very API first. So honestly, the implementations are endless. How you do this, like whether it's standalone page or on an article or through a traditional search input or a standalone block, whatever you would like. And it can, of course, answer questions, but it can also do things like, having a reader ask, what are today's top stories? Or even just simple keyword search. So you could just search for an individual term and get an answer-like response along with the sources, which are more or less like traditional search results. Slide. And this is a very new out-of-the-box feature we just completed this week, which brings multi-turn into the Ask the News experience. And this is a kind of single session experience. It's not tied to identity yet. That makes it even more conversational. So as you're asking a question, we already have follow-up questions that you can, that we have some kind of recommended ones, or you can just ask a pre-formed one. But then it keeps it in this kind of cohesive chat. So you're kind of building upon that, following up from, previous answers. So it becomes more like a discussion. And this is a single session. So essentially it's not storing it for that user, but as we bring identity into it and personalization, we see this becoming even more valuable. Next slide. And then the complete admin controls. This is something that most RAG solutions out there are lacking. And it's basically all the controls that we know you need and that we've learned from the Washington Post. And that's things like, having an ask version for individual sites, deciding which content's included. So you can actually exclude certain sections, like if you didn't want to include like opinion or something like that. And you can even do that down to the individual article level. You can also set custom query blocking rules. So if you don't want to process certain requests from people, and then a very, very valuable piece, which is this, the charts image you're seeing there. That's not going to be the final design. There's actually going to be more data than that. That shows you actual usage metrics. So how people are using it on the front end. So what types of questions they're asking, was there, no answer available either due to lack of supporting content, or maybe just the question was completely irrelevant. And it does kind of patterning of that, how long kind of things take. So you kind of see what are people interested in. And if you see maybe a trend of like people are asking about a certain topic, but there isn't content to support it, you could use that data and information to maybe inform what you're going to write next, or potentially even coverage area expansion. I think that's it. So this is a brief view of our documentation and marketing materials that will be coming with the launch of how to use it. So if you're familiar with Ask the Post, you can look at that and say, oh, I want to do that, that, and that. You could do all of the same things. But you could have dedicated experiences, and it could be an article enhancement. It could be an alternate search path. It could be on your homepage. It's really up to you. And we do have, some kind of obfuscated metrics to share on what the post has learned, and what we've really heard from the internal beta, and where you will see the most success in deploying it, and also how it relates to deepening engagement and monetization options. So more to come on that. And now I think I'm turning it over to Neil.
Yep. Thanks, Joey. Let me see if I can get right remote control. I think I might have. I'm not sure. So, first of all, I'm super excited to talk about the integrations and extensibility. I have to say, the stuff Joey is showing is amazing. So it's hard to go after, but equally excited where I am. Let's go ahead to the next slide, if you wouldn't mind. So first, talking about integrated data dome bot management. So for those folks, and who really isn't, are really looking to have hands-on control and capability of protecting their site, their IP, etc., from bots. this is really a best of breed solution that's been put in place. We announced this last year, coming in towards the end of the year. We've continued to enhance it in terms of your capabilities to channel out certain paths of traffic, et cetera. But effectively, it's for any site that is seeking to have better control of what bots actually have access to, can they have access to you, et cetera. It's a best of breed solution. It was the first one we brought out with the edge integration framework. As you recall, last year we built an entire framework just for integrating best of breed third-party services. Datadome has been an excellent partner, and we're really excited about particularly how easy it is to integrate. With a snippet of JavaScript and a single line within the UI within Arc, you can get this up and running. I'll note, that you do need a Datadome subscription. But the integration is available directly within Arc XP itself in terms of enabling that at our edge. Let's go to the next slide. Also along those lines, integrated pool subscription management. So in the case of pool, it's really about being able to have a dynamic audience journey for those folks that are looking to grow their subscriptions, really have the ability to do things like A/B testing and experimentation, and then engage that directly with our edge controls to protect your content within. Pool is a best of breed product. One of the ones that we identified for framework inclusion last year, and you have access to that. The ability to put it in place with minimal code updates to really connect your subs, pool, your paywall, all of that integrated into a single experience, I think is really the win here. And the statistics are pretty amazing. Pool did a particular case study where they showed a 107% conversion lift using the product. And so I definitely encourage you to talk to your TAM specifically about that. It does, once again, require a pool account. It's integrated directly into Arc XP. And yeah, I think that's it for that one. Go to the next. And then Tollbit. And so this one sort of is the marrying of, if you want to talk about the ability to protect your content, we talked about Datadome. If you want to talk about the ability to monetize your content, we talk about Tollbit. And so in the case of Tollbit, originally what we did is offer Tollbit as an additional sort of component that you could connect. People said, well, we really like to have content monetization through Tollbit. And our original answer to that was, hey, if you launch your Datadome protection, you can connect Tollbit through that. Well, now we have that still, but we also have the ability to use Tollbit completely alone without the Datadome controls in place. And so what does Tollbit allow you to do? Effectively, it's specifically for monetizing your content. Reports have shown that more than a 300% rise year over year in the types of traffic, of bot traffic, scraping, et cetera. And really what you want to look at is, okay, great. If they're scraping my content and I'm not getting the click-throughs that come through that with the AI chat services, okay, how do I recapture some of that value? And Tollbit has the potential to do that. Tollbit is a way to take and say, okay, that bot traffic is coming in. Can I take and either block it? Can I allow it and seek to monetize it through a marketplace within? So highly encourage you to take a look there. We're super excited to have them as a partner with us and to have launched both our standalone product as well as the Datadome integration. And with that, I'm going to hand over actually to Ryan for just a minute.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks, Neil. So, as Joe shared at the beginning, it's critical as publishers offer experiences that meet their audience where they are and what they're looking for. And often, increasingly, this means offering audio versions of articles and offering a more immersive, rich experience, and not just text that you've taken and put on the web. And so, to support that, we've developed a native audio support solution called Audio Center that's now generally available, where you can upload audio into this application and then easily embed it in Composer and render it out on your articles and apps and everywhere else. I'm also excited to announce that part of the AI assistant work that that was shipped actually yesterday, you can now generate those text-to-speech embeds directly from within Composer, and you don't need to use the Chrome extension or anything else. And so now you have an end-to-end workflow where you can stay completely within Arc and offer consumers choice on how they want to consume your content, and then also offer a richer experience as you upload, interviews or other supporting materials into your report. Well, thanks, Neil.
Absolutely. Thanks, Ryan. So moving on, this one is one of the ones I'm most excited about throughout the presentation. Edge rendering is something we've talked about for a while, and the problem that it solves is this. As you know, publishing often takes, in order to get the scale of caching required to get the amount of traffic that comes into your sites, oftentimes updates to pages can take minutes. And in specific situations whether it's a sports score or it's a breaking news event, you need it to be in seconds, not minutes. Edge rendering is bringing that. It's currently in beta. I would definitely recommend that you talk to your TAM about it if you're interested in being part of that beta program. And effectively what it is you can see, here within the Gazette, as it were, the box around the block that's recent. You can take specific blocks within a page, let's say your home page, and be able to refresh that block in seconds for things like third-party content or updating collections, things like that, that you can do at a much, much quicker pace than what you would do for the entirety of the page. And you're not dependent on the entire page re-rendering. It can take that block. What it does is stitch it together at the edge. So this is not client side. This is at the edge within the CDN, actually. What it does is take the core page that's fully cached, then take and inject that particular piece of content within. So for anybody that wants newer, fresher content, which who doesn't, it's definitely something to talk to your TAM about. We're excited for the beta. We're excited to release it to GA later this year. Yeah, and that's it for that one. Page Builder 7 upgrade. The key aspect here, if you want to talk about what are the benefits, it's in this case, it's unlocking capabilities for you all and your product engineering teams to leverage the latest in technology in terms of Node 22 upgrade as well as React 19. TypeScript, of course, comes along with that. I know that's getting a little geeky, but basically under the covers, what it does is it makes the code, we would say, more type safe. And that type safety means that your site is more reliable. Like when it builds, the code itself doesn't break as often, that kind of thing. And with Node 22, as well as React, the real answer there is also speed, that you can see up to 30% faster rendering by leveraging the latest of these libraries. So the Page Builder 6 still exists, but there is a deprecation right now. So you should be well on your way towards the deprecation of Page Builder 6 and doing the Page Builder 7 upgrade to get all of these great new capabilities. If you have questions, speak to your TAM, but we'd love to hear from you. Next on the list, following that same geeky track, this is for your product engineering teams. For a long time, we've heard requests of like, it's not just like we can ship logs to you, that kind of thing. But oftentimes it feels like you're looking for a needle in a haystack when you're trying to determine exactly what happened in your rendering cycle. It can be really difficult. What we implemented was a streamlined engine log and visibility tool that basically you can take and put a trace ID into a specific request and say, just give me that stuff. Let me get that back. And let me get it back in, I won't say real time, but pretty darn close, that you can go back and trace out what the particular request was, get the logs back, and that'll help you to debug what's going on within your own code. So, at the end of it, what it does is it makes your own teams faster to be able to deliver the latest innovation for your code, to be able to see what's going on, debug maybe differences in environments or changes even that you've made within your code and what impact happened as a result. This is already available within delivery tools. There's no additional setup required, and we're excited to have it. And then finally, for me, the usage and rate limit dashboard. So, oftentimes we'll find that customers, will be curious about sort of why am I hitting this rate limit? What's going on within the system uh, that it's not rendering at the moment that I thought it would, or it seems to be delayed in some way. And what we seek to is provide visibility to all of you of exactly what's going on so that you can make choices with that. In this case, it's the usage and rate limit dashboards. And what that does is it shows to you exactly what's going on with your search requests, your rate limits, etc. So you can take action to revise and update and understand what's going on. You'll also know what's going on with your API health of your content, which I think is a remarkable leg up, gives your own teams more visibility. And this is part of a trend for us of bringing more forward. You can see it with the log visibility. You can see it here with the dashboard for rate limits on the content side of it. You've, of course, had the delivery dashboard for a long while, and this is just one more tool that we're providing to you in the core Media OS platform. So with that, I think that's it for me. I'm going to go ahead and hand back over to Joe.
Thank you, Neil, Ryan, and Joey. Lots of you walked through today. In terms of getting involved, we do have beta programs. Please reach out to your TAM around structured content, edge rendering, any of the topics you saw today on our roadmap. And you've got the contact information for the product leaders of the product engineering team. In sum, hopefully we all share the view that the media industry is going through a fundamental shift. Audiences are no longer just consuming content. They expect personalized, interactive, and multimodal experiences. AI is accelerating how quickly that shift is happening. And also, it's adapting the way we work internally at ARC. My teams have embraced AI coding tools throughout their work, and we're hoping to do that to bring even more value. But as I said up front, our long-term vision remains unchanged. Hyper-personalized experiences, AI augmented storytelling, and direct audience relationships. What has changed is how we're going to deliver it. So as you go forward and see more from our roadmap come about, you'll see those targeted high impact solutions. Everything you saw today really reflects that approach. It reflects the work we've done to close out, enhancing that foundation with AI embedded real workflows, new consumer experiences, deeper integrations and extensibility, and continued investment in performance and reliability. All of it is designed to solve real problems, not just add features. So that's what you can expect from our team in 2026. I'm super excited about what's gotten into your hands, what's about to come, and as we take on those big bet questions together. And with that, Andrew, I think we may have some Q&A questions that the team can field.
Yes, yeah, we do have a few questions. First question that we got is for Joey on Ask the News. I know, Joey, you showed the dashboard with some questions that weren't answered and some questions that were answered, and you could see how many. This person wanted to know for the user what happens when there's no answer found for a question.
So there are few scenarios. One, it could just be like a question that no one could answer, and it will simply say, I can't answer that, or I don't have enough information to answer that, which is also a message you can customize. Now, if it's actually a legitimate question and say there's just not enough supporting content or it didn't reach the acceptable threshold of the response, which you can also configure, then it will say it can answer the question, but then show you articles that are related to the question, so it doesn't leave you at a dead end.
Okay, great. Next question we got was for Neil. A couple of related questions, kind of logistical contracting questions about Data Dome versus Tollbit.
Yep.
So you mentioned there's some different scenarios where you could use Tollbit through Data Dome or just use Tollbit standalone. Is there any reason or use case for that, or is it just kind of up to your preference?
Is there a reason or I mean, I think the key aspect is we're trying to give you access to those best of breed tools in
Mhm.
the most direct way possible. So instead of trying to like sort of shove functionality inside and then layer it over, we'd rather give you, and these tools have incredible capabilities to them. I know one of the questions that's come up is, are those separate agreements and contractual pieces? I mean, the simple answer is yes, you get your own direct account, right? With that, but it is partnered and directly integrated in with Arc. I talked to your TAM about it directly to fully understand it.
Got it. Okay. Thanks. And that was the next question about a separate contract. So thanks.
Yep.
Cool. And then we got a question around, this may be a question for Joe. Any further information we can share on custom content types?
Yeah, so that's been something we've been working towards for over a year, and Neil can share the details. It's a great example of where we heard loud and clear from you all, our customers, from prospective customers, that this was a gap in the core operating system. So last year we had probably 2 or 3 releases that started filling that gap. And we start from the core of the system with API first abilities so you can create custom content types. And now Neil's team is working to bring that really fully into the hands. So Neil, I'll let you share kind of one of the future ambitions of that big bet that we're making today.
Yeah, it's funny because I almost thought about putting a slide in here to talk more about it. You probably saw Mike Holland talk about it a bit last year. The simple answer is in terms of what to share, that's in beta. You probably saw it on that beta slide. It's coming into beta now. Please talk to your TAM about it. But if you imagine, the ability to take content types like recipes or uh, restaurant reviews, whatever it is, like being able to structure your own content types so that it doesn't have to nicely fit into that box of a story, using tools that you already kind of know. So this is a significant expansion of capability for us that we're super excited about. Uh, I'll have a lot more to share coming up in next quarter's webinar. Didn't want to get too far ahead, but if you are interested in learning more, by all means, reach out to your TAM. They'll put you in touch with our product manager, and we can talk about beta opportunities. We're right at the edge. Like it's super exciting.
And this is a good example of how we're going to work a little differently this year. So last year we built those core building blocks at the foundation of the media operating system. And as we thought about where do we take custom content types to the next level, we've actually assembled that cross-functional team, really to work on that big bet of how we can help you innovate rapidly by not just building any old flexible content store, but really having one that's tightly tied to the scenarios, use cases for media that our customer facing teams see every day in the field. So you can expect to see as we're evolving those core Legos into more of a fully formed solution, there'll be more direct value that should resonate with what you really want to use custom content for. And I would love it if you can share any use cases you might have. I'll give a shout out on behalf of that team for where you'd love to see custom content, how you want to use it, how does it impact your reader experience, your editorial experience, the overall content workflow of your organization.
Great. And it looks like that wraps up the questions that we've got. So thank you all for joining again. We are going to be sending out a follow-up with the recording so you can review and share with your colleagues. But thanks all for taking the time to join us today. We appreciate it. Have a good one. Bye.